Hello, everybody, and you might notice that I ain't done a video for a while. It is Wednesday afternoon, and I thought, you know what, it's raining outside, so I am going to do myself, a video, bit of news. The first news is, in the waste industry, is that if you have got any wood in your yard, you will notice wood is more difficult to get rid of than general waste. So people are ringing us from all over the place to take wood. We are contracted for our wood, so basically we get a set amount of tonnage each week that we can take into the sites we go to. We pay a little bit of a premium for that, and it is always a good way to do it. I've spoke to a lot of the other sites around the country, and a lot of them now are almost completely closed and not taking any wood of any outside people. They're only doing the contracted stuff. The contracted stuff is usually councils. So when a site like, Stobart, and then they change the name to Eskin or whatever they're called, them sort of companies, what they'll do is they'll sign a 12-month deal or 3-year deal with a local council, and they will take all their wood for a set period of time. And they will be, contracted both ways. So they must take it, and they must keep it at a certain price and stuff like that. So I think a lot of these bigger places now are just taking the material that they're contracted for. So any extra stuff is not going out. Lockerbie, Power Station, different places like that have been down for maintenance and stuff that take, wood and things like that. There's been a few on maintenance, but none of them are back open yet. Up and down the country, there's a few getting maintenance done on them. What you find is with these power plants is that they'll run and run and run and run as long as they can until the price changes or whatever in the market, and then they'll plan the maintenance around, supply and demand. We didn't have a good summer last year, so I think a lot of them just run, an extra season, if you like, and a lot of them are doing maintenance now. But what I will advise you to do is get rid of all your wood. And the people that have rang me, about wood and this, that, and the other, boys, I told you about this 4 months ago when 2 power stations went into shutdown. I said to everybody then, make sure you're keeping on top of your wood and, getting rid of it and everything. And nobody listened, and look what's happened. It's always handy to keep your finger on the pulse with what's happening in the waste industry, because things change so quickly. I'm just looking for my cold can. I've got 2 here, look. One's warm, one's cold. But the big news, the massive news anyway. So I don't know if all you guys will remember the guy or the company who tipped all that waste in the middle of the road, blocking a Lichfield town, so they fully blocked it off. So anyway, this man has now, or this company has now been caught, if you like, or had to answer to what has happened. So when it happened at the time, I did some local people in the area had said to me that this is who they thought it was, but obviously, like I say all the time, the information, once it's public, then I'll do a video on it and stuff like that. This has been on the BBC today, and it is a company who is run by a man called Darren Sheen, and he's 39, and he's from Uttoxeter. Uttoxeter. I'm not even sure how you pronounce that, but he's from the Cannock area. He's been, Staffordshire area. He's been to Cannock Magistrates Court, and what they've actually said is, and this is why this is big news, fly tipping, people do that. I've never known anybody block a full village off, but what they have actually said to this company, they're called Fusion Engineering. I've had a little look at them since then. The company itself looks like a normal company that they've got quite a bit going on. They've got walking floors, they do engineering, welding and stuff like that. So I'm quite surprised that they've, done something like this. What I will say, looking at that company, I don't know if maybe one of their lorries was used to do it rather than them being directly involved. Obviously, at this stage, they've been charged, they've been taken to court, and what they've said, the courts, the magistrates' courts, which is quite unusual, is they've said that this case is too small to be dealt with at a magistrates' court. So what that would say to you is it's going to Crown. So they're going to be looking for a sentence which is going to be over 12 months. I think the magistrates' court is capped at 12 months. So this prosecution are going to be looking for, you know, a custodial sentence which is longer than that. I've not really heard of anybody, recently getting more than a 12-month sentence for fly tipping. I mean, usually hear about them, and it's usually suspended sentences. I mean, I'm not saying that he's not going to get a suspended sentence. He still could do. But it's very unusual for him to actually refer it to a Crown Court. I don't know if this is the first one of, you know, just fly tipping. I'm not sure, but, you know, this company, by the look of it, you know, from what I'm looking online, I've had a look at the company's accounts. One thing that they did, what actually made it a bit easy to find, is that their company, Fusion Engineering, there's a few Fusion Engineering companies, but their name is Fusion Engineering Staffordshire Limited, which is, there's not as many of them. I got that off the BBC's website. They've released the name and pictures of the guy and everything. I had a look at the company's accounts, and basically, looking at it, in 2013, they had 20 grand in the bank. They've got plenty of people that owe money, plenty of people they owe money to, you know, about £500,000 one way or the other, which is a normal company. Somebody owes you, you owe them. You know, and the business, if they paid everybody today, you know, and everybody paid them, they would have about 40 grand left. So I don't know if that's a business what's been in a good position or not, but it seems, I mean, they're everywhere. You type in Fusion Engineering, and, you know, their names are, you know, they're involved in walking floors, they're involved in recovery. I'm just having a look now. You know, they're involved in a lot of stuff, so I'm very, very surprised that they've got themselves tied up. Not in fly tipping, you know, people get a lorry, they go tip somewhere out the way in some building or whatever, you know, out the way. But to actually physically tip it in the middle of a road, I don't know, it don't feel right to me. It feels as if, you know, maybe someone's used their lorry, maybe they've had a lorry on hire, or I don't know. It just seems very strange. It would be just like somebody running a normal business and then going into a jeweller's and doing an armed robbery. It just, I don't know, it just don't feel. It feels a bit weird, because the man's got brand new walking floor trailers. He's got brand new, you know, recovery lorries and stuff like that, basing that on all the stuff that's online, which obviously you'll see on the screen now. I'm going to share it all with you. It just, I don't know. It just seems weird. I mean, the guy going into court, you know, he's got a suit and tie on and everything else. You know, it's a strange way that he's got caught up in this, and I'm, you know, looking forward to find out what it is. But what I will say is that if he has done this, they are going to absolutely ruin him. I mean, obviously, the company, his company now, he's the only director. So because he's in prison, he's also been remanded. I forgot to tell you, he's been remanded. And with him being the only director, now the company has to close, I presume. There's been 2 people who've been directors before. You can have a look at yourself. There's another person's name on there, which I will not speak on here publicly. You can go and have a look if you want. But yeah, it's a strange setup. Anyway, can't wait to see what happens with that, and I hope you have enjoyed this little quick video, and I will see you all soon. Bye.